should be clapping. I'd be clapping if I were you. Happy Wednesday, everyone. So Tim Walz's performance at last night's debate has been panned by both parties. It was so bad, there's now talk of replacing him with a sharper, more capable candidate. In a bizarre gaffe, Walz said he was friends with school shooters. School shooters have come out and denied this, saying their reputations are bad enough. In a post-debate tweet, Anna Navarro said to beware of J.D. Vance since he's an able shapeshifter. But she's just jealous he was able to shift shape without Ozempic. Throughout the entire debate, Walz was seen writing furiously on a notepad. What could he have been writing? Nothing wrong with loving sports and men. And sportsmen. Speaking of, Walz said he was, quote, a knucklehead for falsely claiming he was in China during the Tiananmen Square massacre. I guess he should take down this picture from his website. Throughout the debate, Walz had a deer in the headlights expression on his face. He appeared to his pants, according to someone familiar to the experience. Pants. Congratulations to Jimmy Carter, who turns 100 years old this week. And good news for Democrats, he's still eligible for a second term. Pete Rose died late Monday at the age of 83. Out of respect for his playing style, he'll be buried head first. Come on, we love Pete Rose.
Charlie Hustle.
Finally, today is the official start of the Fat Bear Week competition at Alaska's Katmai National Park. It's going to be tough to pick a winner. All right. Got a 3-for-1 there. All right, so when the mainstream media admits that Tim Walz lost, you know it's much worse than that. Let's put it this way. Walz just rejoined the National Guard and insisted they send him to Iraq. But just listen to these sad sacks of crap.
J.D. Vance came to this debate to land a bunch of punches, and he did. Tim Walz did not seem prepared for it.
I was missing the magic and the organic spontaneity of Tim Walz.
I think the lack of interviews that he has done with national media, with local media, it showed he needed more reps.
Vance clearly, I think it needs to be said, clearly the more experienced debater, the slicker speaker.
To use Tim Walz's own words, I mean, a lot about this debate tonight was weird. There were uncomfortable, cringy moments.
So the tone of the media was one of sadness, not reporting Walz's loss, but mourning it. Now, the truth is that a VP debate is like a colonoscopy. It's important and necessary, but that doesn't mean you want to watch it. But even so, remember this. The VP is there in case something goes wrong with the president, like turning into a piece of driftwood. So this point is just a helpful reminder, since our current president makes Jimmy Carter look like Chuck Norris. When Joe's laid out on the beach, Dr. Jill has to keep the seagulls from eating him. So, despite the best efforts of two moderators who did everything but ask J.D. Vance for a stool sample, only one candidate seemed like the kind of guy you want running your country. And it's not this one.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Yeah. Even a deer in the headlights is screaming, "Get the out of the way, dude!" It's no wonder they don't do follow-up questions with Democrats. They're like the top layer of day-old skimpy bean dip. What's underneath? You don't want to see. At that point, even Biden was home in his Spider-Man pajamas watching and thinking, yeah, I did better. Kamala and Doug had to be shaking their heads. Emhoff hasn't been this stressed since the nanny started gaining weight. Did I hit him too hard? As usual with these debates, it was a clear 3 against 1. Of course, an immediate theme was climate change, which, according to all of the polling of U.S. voter concerns, ranks somewhere below toenail fungus and right above the WNBA standings. But that didn't stop Nora from declaring a global warming consensus.
Governor, your time is up. The overwhelming consensus among scientists is that the Earth's climate is warming at an unprecedented rate.
So I guess that decides it, right? Nora's spoken, but still the implication is utter. There's no correlation between man-made climate change and extreme weather. In fact, the incidence of hurricanes have gone down, not up in the past century. But who cares, right? To expect Nora to know the science is like expecting P. Diddy not to have baby oil. Later, Nora dropped this beauty on JD.
Let's talk about the state of democracy, the top issue for Americans after the economy and inflation.
That's the third biggest issue for Americans, the state of democracy, not the border or crime. Exactly which poll has shown that? The one you took in Liz Cheney's hot tub? Oh. And as usual, the fact-checking only went one way. Waltz lied about the border bill, tax rates, abortion statutes, and Jan 6th. But it's not surprising coming from a self-confessed knucklehead who lied about his military service when he saw less combat than Captain Steubing. Yeah. It's funny, O'Donnell and Brennan never got around to asking about that whopper. And they never brought up the horribly violent riots that took place in Waltz's home state that he did nothing about until it was too late. Yet even with the odds stacked like pancakes on Jerry Nadler's naked belly, Tiny Tim still couldn't pull it off. Hence the somber mood from the liberal media hacks. Can you blame them? Their narrative got shot to hell. Remember, as they downplayed Waltz's skills in order to lower expectations, they elevated the lie that Vance was mean and he was weird. But Vance came off as assured, presidential, smart, full of ideas, a man who could take the reins of power if necessary and not just talk about being unburdened by what has been. A man actually ready to engage in a fair and open debate, unlike the other 3 hacks out there with him. If this was the first time you saw Vance after that steady diet of media smears, what a shock it must be. And yet it's another example of how the media lies to you. The debate showed you the difference between what you're told and what is true. For his part, Waltz came off like that chatty guy you'd steer clear of in a men's room at the Mall of Americas. We've been there. No one's buying his folksy act because folksy is what the Dems call it when they try to act like normal human beings. And really, the days of sharing personal anecdotes are over. They died when Kamala answered, "I was born in the middle class," to every question. Including, would you like super salad? And do you know your headphones are plugged into a Snickers bar? But it made me realize that Trump almost never does that. If you want something personal out of him, you practically have to shoot him. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He hates the photo on his license to kill. Former CIA operative and host of the President's Daily Brief podcast, Mike Baker. She records videos in her car because she likes to work from home. Host of Emily Saves America, Emily Wilson. For $10, her baby will sign copies of The Ultrasound. New York Times bestselling author and host of Fox News contributor, And to him, the Jumbotron is just a Tron.
This is true.
New York Times bestselling author, comedian, former right, Mikey. You watched the debate. What'd you think of it? Two Midwesterners going at it.
Oh, it was a peach of a debate, wasn't it, Greg?
Yeah.
I liked the idea that they weren't yelling at each other, but everything else about it was entirely predictable, as you pointed out. We knew what the moderators were going to do. And the condescending sort of tone, particularly from Nora, I thought was irritating.
Yeah.
But look, there's nothing unpredictable about the follow-up response from the media the next day. We all kind of knew where that was going to go. I was surprised at the fact that they were somewhat negative towards Waltz. I didn't think they'd go there. I thought they would just say, well, it's kind of a draw.
They're pissed off.
Yeah. But look, again, could they have gone harder at Waltz? Of course they could have. Look, the guy's got a real problem with the truth, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just one time. Anytime you see a layer, you may have heard, I have a company that does a lot of investigations. And
yes,
like
that's true.
Yeah, and so we look at a lot of fraud. And I'm not calling Tim Waltz a fraud, but I'm just saying anytime you have a pattern of disassembling, right, of obfuscation, that's a good word.
It is.
Then you've got an issue you've got to look at. We would call that a red flag. Right?
Yeah.
And so they should probably go after that harder, but I didn't expect them to.
When he was talking about China, his not being in Tiananmen Square, I kept expecting him to pull out a 4-pack of Mike's Hard Lemonade, some flowers, and stand behind a kitchen counter. And then in walks, what's his name? From Catch a Predator?
Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen walked in. Boy, a long way for that joke.
Wow.
But thank you. No, I don't want your smattering of applause.
Honestly.
To be fair, he was talking about catching a pedophile. It should be creepy before you laugh. Just to be fair.
Emily, what did you make of it? Did you watch it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we watched it with a bunch of Republicans at a bar, and I thought it was interesting. I like it because my friends that are more left-leaning and independent, they were like, we thought this was fantastic. And after this, they were like, I think Vance is a star. I could see him as a future president. And I was even one of those people that was like, genuinely, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I liked him, especially with how much negative media has been around him. I thought it was great. There were certain points, though, where I was like, one thing about him, he comes with the receipts. Yeah. And I'm like, you're ready. So there's certain points where I'm like, I wish you would have went a little bit harder about the issues that matter. Like immigration. Are you kidding me? The border. Like, you could go so hard, but I respect him for how nasty those women were. He really held his composure and cool, unlike, some people he works with. And I thought that was a great look for us, because anything right now they're going to take and they're going to run with it, and it makes us look bad. And people don't like that, but it's true. And this is a very serious time. So I think he did a fantastic job, and I'm a huge fan of him now. I'm definitely sold, and a lot of people are.
Yes. Kat. Some people, the legendary some people.
Right.
Yes.
Many are saying
that Vance mansplained to Nora when he was telling her that she was wrong. What was your takeaway? And what's your takeaway in general of the debate?
Yeah, I didn't really see it that way. I thought that, look, JD Vance is very good at talking. He did a really good job right off the bat. I think that Tim Walz really knew this was going to be harder than he thought when the conversation was about the instability in the world. And JD Vance did what Trump really should have done when he debated Kamala, saying, listen, you guys are in charge right now, making it so you can't, they're trying to run as if they're the opposition and not in there right now. Now, that's in terms of debate skill, right? In terms of me as somebody who likes free markets watching it, I'm like, boy, both sides really just support a government that's far too big for my liking. Exactly. Sadly, nobody agrees. Sadly, only I feel every day like only 14 people left in the country that actually give a about a small government anymore. So overall, I don't think that'll affect their campaign too much. But also, I think the debate didn't really affect the one where Joe Biden actually lost the nomination. That didn't move polls that much. So I don't know how much difference this will make.
That's a good point. Tyrus, Emily said that Vance offers kind of a juxtaposition to Trump. That's not a juxtaposition you're crazy about.
I thought Walz had probably the best night he's ever had in a debate. Yeah. He looked like a normal guy. He was kind of prepared, wasn't prepared. He could say anything he wanted to. Like JD said that if he doesn't win, he's going to help him. Like, I don't know what what debate you guys are watching, but it was like two BFFs were born on that. You know, each one of them was agreeing. Here's my problem with it. JD, the guy that you're representing, had 2 assassination attempts on him. How many trumped up charges, missed cases? Even after the assassination attempts, Tim Walz and the entire, they revved up the rhetoric even more. They're calling him Hitler. They say all these things. They beat January 6th. And there was I was like, where's the fight? Where's the pit bull? Where's the, you know what? No, January 6th was one day. And you know what? Everyone involved in that is under the jail. Let's talk about the other 360 or the last 3.5 years. Who the hell's been running this country? You know, like, where was that? Where was that fight? And it wasn't, and I didn't see it. I saw, like, JD Vance he looked like he was, I'm not like that. I understand everyone. I believe in his principles, but I'm a softer version. I didn't see any fight. I saw a slick politician trying to make himself look good. I did not see any fight for what's going on, because this is not a normal election where you'd like to see that, because the other side's not playing that way.
Interesting.
But I think that was a calculated decision, right?
And it's a calculated decision that just told people who were on the fence that, there's not that much difference between those guys. Walz had a way better debate than Kamala and Biden have had by far. Whether you agree with it or not, he said things, and I'm a knucklehead, but we were all accepted that. He had a strong debate, because what should have happened is JD, the genius and the darling, should have destroyed him. But all he did was make him look like a regular guy.
Well, I think he was looking to balance Trump.
The same guy.
I think he was looking to balance Trump. Is what they were going for, right?
He might have just balanced the election.
So you're playing kind of a good cop, bad cop thing. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think that there was a reasoning behind it.
If you and I were a team, which one would be the good cop?
Oh, you know what?
I could be a very bad cop.
Yeah. I've seen your bad cop uniform, and it's striking.
What is wrong with wearing shorts? When you're arresting somebody? Okay, we got to move on. Up next, our prosecutor's giddy over dirt on P. Diddy. Nice. Good job.
A story in 5 words.
Diddy is never getting out. All right, Emily, this is an amazing story. Sean P. Diddy Combs is still in jail, Brooklyn jail, on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. 120 alleged victims now, split even between males and females, suing him civilly for sexual abuse and exploiting them while he was promising to make them stars. One was just 9 years old at the time. What do you make of this?
So I know they took him. I mean, I live in LA, so there's a lot of shady people, but they took him straight to jail, and I know there was no bail, which is obviously anytime there's no bail, that means you've done something horrendous. I was going to say the victim is young as 9 years old. What I think is really interesting right now, obviously there's a million rabbit holes we could go down. He's obviously very guilty. On TikTok especially, I mean, every celebrity right now is scrubbing their accounts, and they just published, and I saw the papers of all the celebrities involved, and I'm like, I just want people to remember these people most likely were involved. They knew. They went to the parties. Obviously, he's not a good guy. There's children involved. We could go on forever about that. These are the same celebrities that for the past couple of years gaslight you every day about being morally superior to you. And they're the same ones that are going to go tell you, if you're a good person, go vote for Kamala Harris as well. So.
It is that kind of like I call it the pig pass, Kat. It's like, as long as you express this moral virtue, you're a good liberal, you believe in climate change and all this crap, then you can get away with all this stuff for decades.
It is crazy, too, that he's still like, I look forward to proving all this wrong. like triple-digit number of accusers, but they're all full of just stop. But he can't stop because he did get away with it for so long. And yes, these are the same people who throw parties for themselves in the form of these award shows and things. They literally throw parties for themselves that they then televise because we're not invited, but we're supposed to want to watch these parties where they then, like you said, Emily, are like, you're bad, and then and everyone else is like, yes, they are all bad, and everyone claps. And meanwhile, they're doing that I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
It's remarkable, and he probably, honestly, he doesn't believe that he's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
He probably thinks he's going to get out, because why wouldn't he get out? Because he got away with all this stuff for so long.
He's got famous friends who are probably going to help him because they're scared.
They're scared for themselves.
Mm-hmm. All right, Tyrus.
You can't have a Diddy without a village helping him.
Yeah.
You can't help it. You just can't. You can't have it. Because here's the deal. All these celebrities involved, because the reason why they're there at these parties, they're there for money and work. So if they can get something that he likes, they're going to keep bringing it to him because they keep getting to work. And then you want to know what celebrities are involved? Go watch movies and be like, wow, that person sucks, but they're in every movie.
Yes.
Yep.
Like Meryl Streep.
Yeah, there's a good chance.
That's the best example.
Was Meryl Streep there?
That's probably a bad example. But an older one who's losing them would be there.
Yeah.
To still get, like I said, I think that everyone, if you are a celebrity person, if you collect a lot of photos and pictures, pretty much I think you're going to see a lot of these celebrities and these Oscar award winners, the ones who get the awards, I think you're going to see them disappearing or running for the hills, because most of them should be in jail with him, because they had no problem being complacent, standing outside the door knowing a rape has happened in the other room, but hey, it's good for my career, it's not acceptable, and that's what they're going to try to say. Oh, I was at the party, but I didn't do anything.
Yeah. In that same vein, what a rough year for Jennifer Lopez. She was on top of the world, and then it's like divorce. Your ex-boyfriend's in prison for sex trafficking. Doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't.
Plus, everyone hated her in that movie.
Yeah, that's true. Terrible movie. Maybe she's just bad luck. Who knows? Mike, you said in the green room, you go, it's whatever P. Diddy's done still pales in comparison to his music.
Yeah, I stand by that statement.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? I'm proud to say I couldn't name a Diddy tune.
Yes.
Diddy tune.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, neither could I.
But I am shocked at the sheer volume of lube and dildos that they pulled out of his property.
Yeah, I'm glad you said property.
Yeah. They just hauled right out of there.
Yeah.
It's look, I agree with everything Tyrus pointed out, which is the complicity is just disgusting. There's no way that in that town where everybody talks, right, despite how far off the radar supposedly something's happening, the number of people that were aware of his misdeeds, his illegal activity, the things that are being alleged, and it is. The sharks are circling. It's just like the Epstein case.
Exactly.
Everybody's waiting for that list.
Yeah.
Now, I think because Diddy appeared to have a penchant for videoing everything, that's coming out, right? The Epstein list probably will never surface in our lifetime, but people better be concerned.
That's why I wore my Mike Baker disguise.
But
See, I just provided you with an alibi.
What's laughable, Greg, is they have businesses. Grooming businesses, escort businesses that bring in these young kids, and they go out and they have talent searches for these young, aspiring, usually lower economic. Hey, you're going to come to Diddy's house and you're going to audition, and then hey, I got 4 for you. So 3 don't want to cooperate, but 1 might, or whatever the case. Like this is business. You don't need the list to go after these businesses. We hired how many new IRS agents? Start audit them. You'll find everybody. It's not hard.
Nice segue. Nice segue to the next segment. Up next, released hostages feel stress thanks to the IRS.
5 more words.
IRS royally screws American hostages. Kat, this is a story tailor-made for you. It's from Reason Magazine. It reports that the IRS is actually hitting hostages with late fees. It's incredible. They're fining people like Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and Paul Whelan for taxes they couldn't pay while they were imprisoned in Russia. They apparently don't have the power to wipe out the fees. What say you, Kat?
You got to pay your fair share.
Yes.
It's not even that surprising. It's really not even that surprising. Because, of course, the IRS is like, yeah, wish there's something we can do. Really, they're like, there's nothing we can do. And, of course, there's nothing built into it because the IRS is all about the IRS. It's called the collection, the collection for a reason. There's nothing built into it because it's almost as if, I'm not really as radical as some people might think for suggesting that it's dumb to trust the government because they don't really have... Their interest in you ends as soon as it stops being beneficial to them in some way. And if this doesn't illustrate that, then I don't know what does. They're not even like, yeah, sorry, nothing we can do. Bummer that you were held, captive by a hostile foreign government. But they're like, we're working on it. It's absolutely insane. But of course they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care what reason it is. They just want money.
It is amazing, Tyrus. We spent so much time listening to Biden talk about and actually, causing student loan debt to be canceled. Basically saying, you guys who are imprisoned in your apartments watching, Real Housewives and slugging boxed wine, we're canceling your debt.
Yeah, but those who were kidnapped and witnessed horrible atrocities that will never leave your mind. You know what? I would just send the bill to the White House. That's probably the first thing I would do. I would send it to the White House. And again, this goes to this administration. Maybe they can bring it up, something they can on November 6th. We have Child Tax Credit Act. Maybe we could have a hostage tax credit. Not saying we want you to be a hostage, but if you are hostages during that time, there will be no taxation of you because technically you're not really in America at that time.
Or it's not like I'm sorry, but it's not like they never look away when it comes to stuff people in the government are doing.
No, they don't.
They look away.
Mike, they claim that there's going to be a new bill in the works to exempt people from tax liability during their detainment, which means maybe we can game the system by claiming we're hostages.
Yeah, it'll be like a COVID fraud, right?
Yes.
There'll be a whole new cottage industry. Yeah, I love the fact that they've talked about this bill and then they pat themselves on the back by saying it's got bipartisan support. Well, no, right? Who's so stupid as to not support this? So I agree. I'm not really surprised. Having worked for the government, knowing what sort of bureaucracy it is. But in sort of the same vein, we used to back in the Gitmo days with the high-value detainees, we used to actually give them invoices for the cost of their internment, and it was usually the thing that broke them. Was once you gave them that bill.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Your waterboarding bill, sir?
Yeah, that's right.
It was airport.
Hey, that's not going to pay for itself.
No.
Yeah. And it was like airport prices.
Yeah.
The guy's like being waterboarded with
You didn't
$12
supply
wine.
your own water, so our water is an extra fee. Sorry.
Yes.
Well, you typically would ask if they want sparkling or still.
Yes.
And the smart ones would say still because the bubbles, they
And those who cried in the water, they actually ruined it for the next victim. So there's an upcharge for that.
You know what? I'm so happy now that I've realized just because of this is that time has passed now. We can laugh about waterboarding. There was a long time when you just get kicked in the ass.
Well, that's my preferred parental tool.
Emily.
There you go, Mediaite. What? I raise dolphins. They don't listen.
Emily, this really does feel like the disease of bureaucracy. Their rules are independent of how we live. It's only to benefit them.
We shouldn't be surprised. Every day, I'm just like, with everything going on, this is what we're doing. I'm watching the video. He's literally traumatized as he's speaking. His eyes are like this. You can tell he's like literally in a state of shock. We don't know what happened over there, but I'm just like, I'm glad this is what we're focused on with all the issues. I'm at the point where I'm like, the older I get, I'm like, I really want to abolish everything with basically 3 letters at this point because it's starting to seem like a complete scam.
Hold back there. Not
Almost everything.
Almost
everything.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
You don't have to fold to Mike Baker.
Well, you
Nobody
do
else
have to
does.
hold-
Maybe
Not when you're being filmed, at least.
To be fair, he was giggling about waterboarding. Just throwing that out there.
I wasn't giggling. I was chortling.
You're giggling like a schoolgirl with a whip.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, the old times.
Yes. Coming up, she says Hollywood leans right because she's not very bright.
Our view on The View. Ugh.
The hosts with heft deny Hollywood is left. Yesterday, Whoopi Goldberg reacted to Shazam star Zachary Levi's endorsement of Donald Trump by telling us Hollywood isn't as liberal as we think. Roll it, Chad.
Zachary Levi says he's aware of the consequences he faces over going MAGA. Take a look.
We are going to take back this country. We are going to make it great again.
Within my industry, as you can probably imagine, Hollywood is a very, very liberal town, and this very well could constitute career suicide.
So, okay. That's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
From the beginning of Hollywood, it's always been a very right-leaning town. But yeah. I know you don't know much about the Hollywood history, so let me school you. Uh-oh. We are, like America is, we're mixed. We're a mixed bunch. And sometimes it may seem like there's more Democrats, and sometimes it seems like there's more Republicans. But the truth of the matter is, very few people seem to bite it because they're Republican. John Voight, who is working.
Tell that to me.
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid, who is working. People are working. Stop that. It's more BS.
Yeah.
And it's unnecessary.
Please go.
More BS and unnecessary sounds like every day on The View. So according to Whoopi, since two conservative actors are still working, Hollywood isn't left. By that logic, I guess we should stop with diversity since we've got Morgan Freeman and the great Jaleel White. Tyrus, what is she talking about?
I don't know. She didn't even know. I think sometimes you say things so fast that your brain doesn't have time to go, hey, whoa, let's regroup. You're so left. You saw what the woke and the extreme progressive stuff has done to the movies. People don't want to go anymore. You attack everyone. If you literally have to be the exact color and style of the character you're playing. You can't be a character actor anymore, unless, of course, the character's white. Then anyone can play it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to say it has not gone that way is laughable. And I find it funny because you would think at some point, someone like Whoopi, with her experience, the fact that she had to change her name to Whoopi Goldberg to even get a job is not going to be the one to come out and say that Hollywood is flawed and has some real issues. You literally had to change your name to get jobs because the virtue signaling left didn't think you had enough boxes to check. So it's funny when people get to a certain place of comfortability, they can say, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Hollywood's so bad you have to change your name. When I started coming on this show, I was getting calls all the time. I had I had all this stuff. Oh, I don't know. He's on Fox now. Kiss my ass. I don't want your movies. But but don't insult us. Don't insult us.
It's true. I actually was up for Mission Impossible 8 and when they saw this show, they gave it.
Well, plus you were this much. The Tom Hanks height thing was an issue. You were bullying him. You kept looking down the top of his head. Greg was next to somebody shorter than him. It's a nightmare.
Mikey, she had a hard time naming people. She's like,
John Wayne.
Yeah, she was like, well, sometimes you have more Democrats, and sometimes you have more. I was told that we've almost hit our limit in swearing, so I suddenly hit a brick wall there because I couldn't say what I was going to say. Everybody knows that
like,
yeah. I was going to say what she said was. But I can say that. Yeah. I understand you said that before.
Yes.
And so I think anyway. Yeah. It's just. And I can't. I got nothing else to add because
clearly you don't.
I don't.
Anything else to add.
I do feel like there's nothing that any of us can say that illustrates the point better than the fact that she herself could not think of the word Republican.
Yeah.
As she was making the argument that it's totally right-leaning. She's like the Democrats and the. But I actually do think that there probably are a lot of people in Hollywood who are conservative.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know that, and nobody knows that, and they're not open about that. Why? Because they won't work.
Yes, because there's plenty of them that have lost work, Emily. You live out there. Is there any evidence to anything she's saying?
I've never heard what she said before in my life. That's like, it's weird to hear a sentence you've never heard before, and you're like, this is amazing. First of all, the reason everything sucks is because it is so left-leaning. That's why we don't have good movies, and then the only movies that come out that are good are Republican movies. Then, all of a sudden we go and the theater's broken, the lights are turning on, which is crazy. That happened. But it's so funny when all my friends in LA that left the industry left because it was so left-leaning. They couldn't be themselves. They were forced to wear a mask, forced to get vaccinated, all these things. And they were like, if you were different, they would out you. Because any person they outed, it bettered their opportunity. And on top of that, I know for a fact, there was a list going around the past 4 years, because I was on it, of if you are a celebrity, because during the pandemic, celebrities reached out to me and they were like, thank you so much. I would lose my Netflix special if I just, was a Republican. And I'm like, great, that's why we're in this situation, because none of you will speak out. But there was lists, and they were like, these are lists of people you cannot follow on social media. It's everyone from Fox, people like me, literally anyone that speaks out. They're like, you're not allowed to follow this person. People would follow me and then unfollow me. They'd be like, yeah, it makes me like a target. So all this is obviously complete BS. And shout out to him for speaking out. Good for him.
Maybe he should come on the show.
Yeah.
Mr. Levi. I think he did Red Eye once back in the day. He should come on and do this show.
I've had people come up to me in Los Angeles and tap me on the shoulder and then whisper. They won't even say it out loud. They'll whisper, Fox News.
Yeah.
And that's how concerned they are about being outed.
Yes. So true.
Yeah.
All right, up next. Don't move a muscle. We say goodbye to Charlie Hustle.
It's time for the question of the day.
Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Mike, you're a man.
Yeah.
He passed away at the age of 83, one of the game's greatest players, but he was banned from the Hall of Fame for gambling on games during his time as a player and manager. When you compare to the actions of players today, does it really seem like the ban should stay?
No, he's dead. Put him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So, I saw him play. I'm old enough, and he and his team. He was 19 years with the Cincinnati Reds. Just an amazing player. A lot of people didn't like him because he was abrasive at times, but a great player. And I also mention one other thing? Another great sports legend died, Dikembe Mutombo.
Oh, yeah.
Only 58 years old. Great NBA player.
Yeah.
Anyway, just thought I'd point that out.
He can't be, anyway. Tyrus, do you agree or disagree? I know that you are a stickler for rules.
Here's the thing. When he bet on games that he had control over as a manager, but that's when the country's integrity was different. So he should not get in based on that. But then now you've had a baseball season where the Houston Astros cheated, my Boston Red Sox cheated, and they ruined careers, and they were suspended for a year. They both cheated the influence of games. I think wearing a headset and ruining a pitcher's career and teams and taking World Series away from the Dodgers and all that, I think that's far worse. But those guys got a slap on the wrist. So unfortunately, if we were to follow the rules, no, he shouldn't get in. But also, there should be at least 15 guys between the Astros and Red Sox that are banned for life as well. So since they didn't do that, and that's the new baseball league, then yeah, he 1,000% should be in because you're not holding him to the same standard as you're holding your current ball player.
Emily, how can we blame this on Joe Biden?
I was literally about to be like, how have they already spun this to blame it on Trump? And be like, somehow this is related to Trump and literally all of his fault.
Well, he is a Trump supporter, or he was.
Oh, well, then obviously this is not going to be a great outcome for him.
Yes.
Unfortunately, obviously, rest in peace. I definitely think we have different standards now. Athletes usually are in the news for pretty horrific things here and there. So, I would say go for it.
Yeah.
If that's what he really wanted, give it to him now that he's,
gone. Kat?
Gone.
I don't get it. I get that this was a wrong thing to do, but it wasn't while he was actually playing, which is what he would have gone in for, right?
Yeah.
See, I was 10 months old when that happened, and I get it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but when you're the manager... and
I get that you're not supposed to do that. I get why that's a huge issue.
And he admitted he was wrong.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. He refused to admit for years, and then he came clean on ABC. Mistake.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough out of both of you.
All right.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. We're out of time. Thanks to Mike Baker, Emily Wilson, Tim Tyrus, our studio audience, Fox News, Greg GUTfeld, I love you, America.